The funniest thing that people have said to me is not friends, just people, acquaintances. Well, how can you be Muslim? You're white. And I'm like, yeah, it's a religion, not a race. Or you don't wear a headscarf. How can you be a Muslim?
Welcome to Curious Chats and Kind Acts, the podcast that celebrates difference, kindness, and the little things we can all do to make our world a better place. Join me, your host, Sonia, co-founder of the Axe Charity, for some open, authentic and fun conversations with lots of interesting, extraordinary, everyday people who are all a little bit different. Prepare to have your curiosity piqued and your heart warmed as we explore the ways we can all make a difference in the world, no matter how small. So get ready to be inspired, uplifted and motivated to be the kindest version of yourself. Let's make the world a kinder place, one conversation at a time. Well, hello there. Welcome to Curious Chats and Kind Acts. How are you? Today, we're taking a trip down memory lane with Jo. I've known Jo since school, and our youth involved lots of clubbing and drinking together. But as Jo got older, and I think it's a stage most of us reach, she wanted to explore other things in life. So we chat about that journey, which includes reverting to being a Muslim, halal dating, not eating during Ramadan, and wearing a moral veil. And this is where her journey to the Islamic faith began. I hope you enjoy this episode.
So let's go way back, first of all, to our clubbing days. I know. And do you know what? Good memories, though.
Oh, absolutely.
Genuinely, we danced, we laughed, we cried. They were good years. But then, well, what happened to you then?
I only stopped drinking. I still because it's not sustainable. So what I was doing as a youngster, shall I say, was fine for that time of my life. But actually, if I wanted to settle down and, have a family and things like that, then things needed to change because I was single. The people I was meeting were not on the same wavelength with regards to commitment. So drink, for me, although alcohol was never a problem, it certainly wasn't helpful to me when I hit my 30s. And it was actually more of a negative thing than a positive thing.
I agree with that. And if I look back now, and so for me, it was probably like we'd go out clubbing in the hope to meet someone.
Yeah.
Or I did a bit of internet dating. God, hated it. But again, the people you met internet dating, well, for me, it never worked out really.
But also the thought of going on a date petrified me. Absolutely.
Really?
Yeah. So I'd like you, do a bit of internet dating, arrange to meet up, and then last minute I'll be like, I can't do it.
Or have a few drinks.
Or have to have a few drinks to do it. And it's like, but then they see the drunk you, and it's like, but that's not me.
Or who I want to be anyway. So, so what happened next?
Like I say, alcohol and meeting people in clubs and pubs became a very negative thing for me. And it actually sent me into a downward spiral of mentally not being very healthy. So I thought things have got to change. And around that time was the time when, was she sent to me? Who knows? But I got my neighbour, Beth.
Oh, yeah.
Who moved into the flat next to me. And she was, well, still is, a very positive, inspiring character. And she was enjoying doing some travelling. And as single people, we decided that we'd go and do a bit of travelling together. Not big travelling, just holidays here and there. And we'd go to places like Kenya, Morocco, Malaysia, all places that were completely different to life here. And it just really opened my eyes to the world and that how we live here isn't particularly healthy mentally. And the more I travelled and the more I met other people with a more positive outlook on life, a lot of them would talk to me about God, which is something that I'd always believed in. So that wasn't a new thing. I'd always believed in God from an early age, and that's how I've been brought up. But I've been brought up to believe that you should be kind to your neighbours, do good deeds. It's not about, do you go to church on a Sunday?
Yeah.
It's about how can you incorporate it into your life. And then it wasn't a decision that we actually made, but we ended up going to quite a lot of Muslim countries. And the more people spoke to me about Islam, and the more I saw the true kindness of the religion when people are following it properly, and the hospitality that was absolutely genuine, the more drawn to it I was, and the more I wanted to find out about it. And also, with being a scientist, there was a lot of science in the Quran as well. There was some scientific things that you just think, that's in the Quran from 1400 years ago. How could they possibly have known that? Things that have now been proved by scientists to be true. I was nosy, I was intrigued, so I just read around it. And the more I read of it, the more I thought, this all makes sense. It's not 100 miles off Christianity and all the other Abrahamic religions that stem from it. It's just a continuation and a reminder of what we should be doing, just to pull us back in, to rein us back in a bit. So I started to believe it more. And then I thought, it was when I was out in Malaysia, actually, and we were Kuala Lumpur, and we went to the mosque there, and I met one of the volunteers, and I was chatting with her, and her genuine hospitality and love for the religion just completely caught me. And I just thought, when I get home, I'm going to have to, if this is what I believe, which I do now, then this is something I'm going to have to act on. So when I got home, I looked into locally where I could go to get some information. Still not thinking that I was going to convert to Islam. But again, in seeking that knowledge, it just progressed. And I then decided that I want to become Muslim.
Where did you go? Where did you seek information from?
So got in touch with the Islamic Centre in Manchester and Disbury, and they are really set up for, they do every Sunday, they did like open days for anyone wanting to walk through the door and just find out a bit more, just see what they do. So introduced myself there, and they took me under their wing, and it was very much a case of, we can give you more information, we can support you, whatever you want, we can help. No pressure. Just if you just want to find out more about Islam, the classes we do for, Revert sisters and things. If you just want to come and find out some more, give me loads of books. And again, hospitality blew me over again. So started going there on a Sunday just for some classes.
So I don't know, give your life to God. Is there a big dramatic moment for you where you were like, I didn't feel?
So the one thing I didn't want to do was do anything without discussing it with mum and dad. Not that they would change my mind, but I just wanted them to be involved in the process and understand why I was doing this. And I was a bit concerned probably about what my mum's reaction would be like, more than my dad's. But actually, when I explained it, they were great about it. And it was a case of, as long as you believe in God, which they do, and you're doing good, then as far as I'm concerned, that's, there's no division, sort of thing. And they've always been very accepting of different cultures, different faiths and things. So once I'd kind of not got their approval, but they were on board with what was going on, then I decided, so what you do is you do what's called your Shahada. And so you've got your 5 pillars of Islam.
Yeah.
The first one is your Shahada, which is your declaration of faith. In Arabic, you just literally just say the statement, but you got to believe it.
Yeah.
That there's one God and that Prophet Muhammad is his messenger. And that's the only statement that you have to make, which is in Arabic, like I say, it's like Ashhadu alla ilaha illallah Muhammadan Rasulullah. And that, then you become Muslim. But we believe that everyone's born Muslim.
Yeah.
So I've just reverted back to that belief. So did my Shahada. It wasn't a huge occasion.
Did your mum and dad?
No, they could have done, but like I say, it wasn't
Right, okay.
a huge thing. It's just a statement that you say with belief in your heart, really.
Yeah.
And we say from that moment, all your previous sins are washed away. And from then on, obviously, you're accountable for anything you do.
Yeah.
And we believe, obviously, that day of judgment, you've got your good deeds, your bad deeds, and they'll be, God will weigh them up depending on your deeds.
So how did your life change after that? Like what started happening? And
So after that, I thought, well, I'm Muslim now, so I couldn't drink, which was fine because, like I say, that had become a negative in my life anyway. So actually, it was a good time in my life to do that. So I was single, so I thought, well, I'm going to have to find myself a Muslim husband now. How on earth do you go about that? Bearing in mind that I'd been single most of my life, had a few relationships, but nothing serious. So I thought, I'm going to try internet dating from a Muslim perspective. So there was a website called, and they're more like marriage sites because in Islam, you don't kind of date. If you're looking for a partner, then you're serious about you're looking for marriage. You shouldn't be looking for, having a 6-month relationship and then, if it's not right, then you shouldn't get into it in the first place. Sort of thing.
right.
So people are looking for serious relationships as opposed to just flings, which I found more on the non-religious side. People are just after a bit of fun. Whatever. These were people serious, looking for marriage to settle down. So singlemuslim.com, it was called. Got myself on there. And a couple of people messaged me. Didn't meet anyone. But then this guy messaged me from the northeast. I thought, you're too far away. I'm not leaving Chester. Go away. But actually, he was quite funny. So I was like, oh, I'll have a couple of conversations with you. But that's it. Anyway, after a couple of months of chatting on the phone and emailing, we ended up meeting each other. He came over to Chester for a halal date.
Whoa. What's a halal date?
You don't go drinking.
Yeah.
You don't snog each other.
No kissing.
No, it's a halal date. Really, we should have had a chaperone, but we didn't go that far. But we just behaved honourably to each other and just got to know each other.
Where did you go?
So he got the train over and we just went out, we just went down the river in Chester, went to the park, went out for a bite to eat, just had a day around Chester really, just mooching. And that was it. And we just clicked. We got on. And bearing in mind at this point I was 34, 35. Never met anyone that I wanted to settle down with. And within 5 minutes of being Muslim, I'd met this guy that is now my husband of 10 years.
Yeah.
Alhamdulillah, we've got Samaya, our daughter, who's 9. So everything just kind of fell into place. I think before that, I was probably looking too hard for something that wasn't going to be there because of the environment I was looking in. And then when I converted to Islam and just said, what will be, then everything just fell into place. And I met Shaf, and a year later we got married. And then I ended up moving up to the northeast, got a job like that, no problem. His family were more than welcoming. My family were more than welcoming to him. In fact, I think they like him more than me.
Yeah.
And obviously gave up drinking because for me, smoking went with drinking, so gave up smoking as well. So all my bad habits went. Don't get me wrong, I've replaced them with chocolate.
Yeah.
But I don't have to explain why I don't want to drink. I just, because I think there's a lot of pressure out there for people to drink, but I don't have to put myself in that environment. I
Yeah.
can go out for a meal with friends and drive and not worry about.
And what about all the other stuff? Again, my ignorance, but you don't wear the scarf.
The hijab. Again, all religions are a guide. Whether you choose to follow that is entirely up to you. It's one thing we say in Islam is that there's no compulsion in religion. So if it says that in the Quran that I should wear a hijab, your interpretation of what a hijab is from 1400 years ago, some people interpret it as a veil, but more so, some people interpret it as a moral veil. in the fact that, yes, okay, you should dress modestly, which I think I do, but in my own Western way, because, I haven't changed culture, I've changed religion. As long as I behave morally, so I'm not going around, cheating on my husband and, drinking and doing things that I shouldn't be, then to me, the hijab is a moral veil.
So would you say you're like a progressive Muslim, really? Like in Christianity, you have traditional, evangelical, and you have progressive Christianity, which I think some of the stuff you're saying sounds quite similar. Like, the Bible was written over 1,000 years and actually was written in a different time. So some of the stuff in it may not be relevant today. Would you say you feel that way about the Quran? And
not necessarily, because I think the Quran was written obviously from the words of God, so it's perfect in itself. But it's how you can only do things that you're comfortable with doing. So if I wore the hijab, but in my heart I didn't want to be wearing it and I was resenting it, then there's no point in me doing it.
Yeah.
So I do whether it's right or wrong in my religion, within my religion, I do what I feel comfortable doing. If that means that I'm not following the religion to its full capacity, then that's on my head, be it. That's morally that I can accept that.
Yeah.
But I think as long as your intention's good, then you're halfway there.
And what about praying? Do you pray 5 times? Is it 5 times a day?
Yeah, again, we're supposed to do our prayers, our salah, 5 times a day, and then during Ramadan we do more. I'm not saying I do them every day by far.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I do them 5 times a day. That's one of the things that I struggled with, both learning it in Arabic, and the UK isn't set up for you to do that 5 times. Obviously depending on your occupation and things. I know some people, if they've got an office, they can quite easily just do the prayers sort of, within their office and things. And we do have prayer rooms within hospitals and things that, multi-faith that we can go and use. But my job, I just can't nip out whenever I need to. So I'm not great at keeping my prayers, far from it. My intention is there. Yeah.
Can relate to that. And what about Ramadan? That's where you can't eat.
Yeah, you can't eat during daylight hours. It's not just about eating. You can't eat, you can't drink anything. But again, it's about you as a person. So you shouldn't swear, you shouldn't backbite, you shouldn't do horrible, things, because it's about cleansing yourself both physically and morally, just to kind of reset your faith. Actually, during Ramadan, we're supposed to get, more rewards for doing more deeds. So during Ramadan, loads of people are trying to do even more charity than they can, because they believe it's a month the way it's amplified.
Yeah.
So although Ramadan, with not eating during sunlight hours, it means that you have that time to focus on doing charity work or good deeds. But it just makes you focus, and it makes you realise that there's people out there that don't have food on water on tap like we do. So it's not only to make you appreciate what you do have, but to give you that focus. I mean, try fasting when it's not Ramadan. It's difficult, but somehow you just get this spiritual lift.
Okay.
But I think because you know that all your community is doing it at the same time. And actually, it's not that difficult. I mean, the first year when I started fasting, I think it was August. So the days were the longest there were ever, really long days. I think there's only about 4 hours in which we could actually eat and drink. So I thought, if we can do it now, it only gets easier because it moves back 10 days every year.
Right.
Because it follows the lunar calendar as opposed to the solar. So it's actually moving back, where eventually when it's in winter, we'll just be skipping lunch.
Yeah.
But the hours aren't long at all now. So I started it at the hardest point. If I can do it then, I can do it anytime. But you get a spiritual lift, and I don't know why, but everyone says it. And it's not a chore at all. But also, when you do break your fast, what we call iftar, it brings the family together. And then after that, you do like communal prayers. So again, it realigns the community aspect of it.
Okay.
Because iftar, when we break our fast, is quite a big event when you haven't eaten all day. So people will, invite you around for iftar with the family.
In terms of your connection with God, so do you feel like, I would say for me, I feel like a Holy Spirit within me. I'm praying or singing. Do you get that kind of feeling? I don't really know how else to describe it. Or is it more I don't know, what is it within you that's so committed and confident that you're on the right path?
I think because, like I say, once I did choose that path, things just fell into place.
So it's actually external factors that fell into place. I call them God incidences.
Yeah, but also, now I'm the most mentally settled I've ever been. But also, what keeps me in line is knowing that the more good I do, then God will be grateful and thankful and reward me for that. So that it's just the sweat of obviously on Judgment Day.
And so that's kind of a motivation for you.
Yes.
On Judgment Day, God's going to judge me, so I need to have done the best I can.
Yeah.
So that on Judgment Day I'll go to
heaven. In Arabic, Jannah.
Okay.
But it's heaven, or hell.
Because I think that's a different motivation. You're doing it because you don't want to be punished, not because you want to do good.
I think it's a combination.
That's a harsh extreme. But
yeah, I think it's a combination. Because God will know in my heart if I'm doing good or charity or trying to help someone, if I'm not doing it for the right reasons, I'm not going to get the reward.
Yeah, you can't trick God.
No, exactly. He knows what's in your heart. But if it's not in your heart, it ain't happening.
Yeah.
Like you say, you can't trick him.
So tell us about some of the good. So for me, that would be acts of kindness, I guess.
Yeah.
So what kind of stuff do you do?
So for us, like I say, during Ramadan, if you can feed other people, that's great. But during Ramadan, we also, like I say, if we do extra charity work and things, then that's good. But we also, one of our 5 pillars of Islam is to give 2.5% of our savings to charity all the time, but specifically during Ramadan, even more. We can give what we call sadaqah, which is additional charity. So it's good to feed, especially during Ramadan when everyone's fasting and then eating a feast at iftar. Some people don't have food.
Yeah.
So if you can give money to a charity in India, Pakistan, anywhere, to feed somebody for a week, whatever, then we'll do things like that. But it's just, again, things like just helping your neighbour. I mean, a lot of it revolves around food. But I think that's a cultural thing. But yeah, in Islam, everyone believes that everyone's equal. So there shouldn't be a case of, people have things and other people don't. So if you have things, it's your duty to share it out amongst other people to make sure that everyone has something.
So within your community, I don't know, would you bake a cake for a neighbour or help them garden?
Yeah, a lot of, individuals as well, but certainly a lot of the Islamic charities around by us, and just generally culturally, they love feeding people. So they will make extra food and give it to the neighbours or whatever, whether they're Muslim or not. So, or things like during the snow, they went out and cleared elderly people's drives, and things like that, or go and get shopping for people. I personally volunteer I go and visit an old lady just as a buddy up, just to, she's not Muslim, she's not Christian, she's not anything. She's just somebody that's in her 90s on her own, and through a charity, I go and just keep her company once a week, just have a cup of tea and stuff. Yeah, it's about looking out for your neighbour, helping people, making sure people don't go without food and water.
And in terms of like discrimination, I guess, have you had any against you since you've become a Muslim?
There's been no discrimination whatsoever. It's hard because you don't kind of now, well, I don't kind of fall into any particular category. So I'm not a white British, whether it be Christian or not, and I'm not an Asian Muslim. I'm a mix. So where do I fall? But sometimes it's been difficult. Sometimes there's language barriers, or sometimes if I wanted to go to a local mosque, there'd be language barriers because they don't accommodate. They might just speak in Urdu or Arabic. So that would isolate me. slightly. And then my white non-Muslim friends, some of them kind of thought, well, that's a bit weird. Why have you become Muslim? And questioned that. So you kind of feel stuck between the two. But then I'm kind of like, well, I don't need to justify myself to anyone.
Yeah.
So as long as what I'm doing, I'm happy with, then if you're my friend, you'll understand whether you're, white British or Asian and Urdu speaking. I mean, they have been most welcoming in the Muslim community.
Is it better to have been a Muslim all your life, or is it better to be
it's
a revert, or is there like a secret hierarchical? I call it the hierarchy of holiness.
Yeah. No, it's whatever God's plan is for you, that's what it'll be.
Yeah.
So if you come into the religion, a revert, then, I mean, people would come to my house and bring me chocolates to welcome me to the religion and stuff. It's like
food again.
Yeah. You're a revert. You are now, like you say, all your sins have been wiped out, and they just see that as just absolutely admirable, and the fact that God's chosen you to be there at this point.
It's almost harder for you, maybe, because you've had to make a decision. I suppose when you grow up in a culture and it's kind of expected, but you've got to go to the norm, actually.
Exactly. Yeah, because I was looking into Islam, probably with the way my mind works, probably to disagree with a lot of things and actually disprove things, but actually I couldn't do that and ended up converting.
What would you say to people? Like I don't ever want to intentionally discriminate or make you feel judged. What would you say to people, like, in terms of making you feel okay about it and not judged? What can people do, like, proactively to not make you feel like that?
I think just treat me as normal as they did before. The funniest thing that people have said to me is not friends, just people, acquaintances. Well, how can you be Muslim? You're white. And I'm like, yeah, it's a religion, not a race. So that comes into it a lot. Or you don't wear a headscarf, how can you be a Muslim? That sort of thing. Things like during Ramadan, you'd be sat in the tea room at work or whatever, just quite happy, you're quite happy that everyone is eating, because that's not a problem, because, if it was a problem, I wouldn't go to the tea room.
Yeah.
And then everyone's so apologetic for eating and drinking. It's like, I'm sorry, it's Ramadan. I'm really sorry for eating in front of you. And I'm like, don't apologise. I was like, right, absolutely fine. If it was an issue, I would not be sat here. You eat your lunch. You are not Muslim. I'm fasting. It's fine. Not a problem. Things like, I was vegetarian before anyway, so the meat thing hasn't been a problem. But sometimes, we went out the other week and we'd asked if any of the meat was halal. They said the chicken was halal. Great. So my husband ordered the chicken. When it came out, it was wrapped in bacon. And you're like, obviously no mention of that on the menu. And you don't get this, do you? But even in I think in the canteen at Shaft's work, there was chicken and bacon sandwich, and in a bracket it said halal after it. And you're like, no, that's not how it works. So I do look at whether things have been. So if they're halal but not vegetarian, like sweet, then that's fine. But if it's not halal, then I wouldn't eat it.
So, would you eat, I don't know, a gummy bear that might have gelatine in it?
No. But if it was a gummy bear that had beef gelatin in that had been killed in a halal way, yeah,
you're all right with it.
Yeah, no, because you get halal sweets, and all the jelly sweets that are halal have not got pork gelatin in. They're usually beef gelatin, but also the beef has been killed in a halal way. So my daughter, she's very good at knowing what she can and can't have. She knows she can't have Haribo. Yet at home we can have our special Haribo, which are either vegetarian or halal ones. She knows that she can have chicken at our house at home or at Shaft's family's, but if she goes to Isabel's down the road, she can't have chicken.
Yeah.
So,
and is that so? Where you live, is there a strong Muslim community where you live now?
Not immediately where we live. but 10 minutes down the road, yeah. So there are halal butchers or general Asian stores where you can get halal stuff.
Because you're like a minority, really.
Yeah,
In terms of being able to live out your values. Like in Chester, I don't know where you go. There probably is places, but
to get halal. Well, you'd be surprised what's halal,
yeah,
because sometimes if you can't read Arabic, you don't know it's halal.
yeah,
But also they might not advertise it as halal. But actually, most takeaways you go to, most Indian restaurants,
Yeah.
they're not Indian. They're usually Bangladeshi, and they're all halal. I ordered for some friends coming over the other night Domino's, and found out that the chicken at Domino's was halal. So actually, I could order chicken for them.
wow,
Pizza Express halal. Certain Nando's, depending on the catchment area, halal. So you get used to asking. But actually, you'd be surprised. A lot of the restaurants in town, certainly all the takeaways, because either the Turkish, the Iranian, the Bangladeshi, they're all
yeah.
halal.
It just becomes your norm, doesn't it? But what would you say to someone like me? What would you say, right, if you did this, you'd have a basic understanding and you'd get through life a lot easier. What can I do to, I don't know, educate myself, I guess, so that I'm never going to offend a Muslim, which I never want to do intentionally, but I'm sure.
But I think that's life in general. You don't ever want to offend anyone.
Yeah.
But I think as a Muslim, you understand that people who aren't of your faith won't have the knowledge and understanding that you have. So there's tolerance. We wouldn't be, unless you sat there and burnt the Quran.
Yeah.
Then I wouldn't.
It's weird,
if you did something out of ignorance, then
it's like, I genuinely, I would love to have a more culturally diverse group of friends.
Yeah,
because I live in Chester. But I've done a lot of travelling, and you just learn so much more from different cultures.
Absolutely.
It's like I genuinely have started saying hello to someone who walks the kid to school, who's got a scarf. It's not a full hijab. And I'm like, is it rude for me to go and say, well, can I be a friend? It's really, it's like, how do I approach someone going, look, I'd love to get to know you more. It's really weird.
But surely that's the same with anyone, whether they're wearing hijab or not.
Well, it's more, I want a more culturally diverse group.
Because you specifically chose her because of the hijab.
Potentially, yeah. And is that wrong? Is that me being really rude? And I'm like, I don't know. So therefore, I've not approached them other than, hi, this is my dog. And he's like,
and yeah, the only other thing I will say is that they're not used to dogs.
Really?
Yeah. So obviously, Shaf's fine with our dog, but his whole family are petrified of him.
Why is that, close?
It's a cultural thing, because certainly back in Pakistan and other places, dogs are functionally guard dogs.
Okay.
They're not kept as pets.
Right.
So their job is to scare you. And that culture, unfortunately, is still filtered down through the generations of people even that were born here. So their parents would cross the road if they saw a dog because they were scared.
Yeah, that does ring true, actually.
So maybe if you've got the dog, don't approach too much.
Okay,
it depends on the person. I mean, I take Bert with me to my friend Soraya's house.
Yeah.
She loves him. But
I think what I might do then is I might take a cake round, do it through food. Plus, I mean, I'm going to set myself a challenge. I'm going to take some food round to some of my neighbours who wear a headscarf.
Yeah, because they'll feel, it's not even feeling obliged, but they'll want to do it in return.
Yeah.
Back, and that can open dialogue.
Yeah. Without the dog.
Without the dog. Yeah, I'd say. Or even just go up and say Salaam alaikum.
Say that again. Salam alaikum.
If you just say Salaam alaikum, which is the way that we greet each other as Muslims, which simply means peace be upon you. So it's just saying a prayer to you, and they will answer walaikum assalam and peace be to you. That will open a conversation, because she'd be like, oh, you know Arabic? I'd be like, no, that is all I know. But yes, but that's all you need.
I'm going to give it a go.
Or just say, my friend is a revert, and we were just chatting over, things about Islam. I just thought I'd come and say hi.
Yeah, that's it. I've got a little challenge there, an act of kindness, so I can start to build relationships in the neighbourhood. Well, thank you very much, Jo.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode of Curious Chats and Kind Acts. It was lovely to have you. Can I just say a massive thank you to all the people that we've interviewed who have been so honest and vulnerable with me so that we can have these real life stories to share with you, our wonderful listener. And remember, we'd love to hear what random or small acts of kindness you've been up to so that we can maybe do a few. Find us on all the socials, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram and Twitter, and all our /ActsGB, that's ACTSGB. And drop a comment on our feed, tweet us, or even send a photo. Let's build our kindness community together. We'll read some of our favourites on future episodes of Curious Chats and Kind Acts. And you never know, we might even have a go at a few of your ideas ourselves. Watch this space on the socials. For more information about the Acts charity, including how to donate to us, head to actsonline.uk. See you next time!